So we are continuing the discussion of this very important chapter for your NEET entrance exam, what is known as the molecular basis of inheritance. For the past few videos, what we were discussing was that what biomolecule actually serves as the genetic material. So that was a big question before the molecular geneticist. You must have seen the earlier videos. So we were grappling with this question that whether it is DNA or the protein that will serve as the biomolecule that will store the genetic information in virtually all living organisms. And we did a series of experiments, and ultimately we came to the conclusion that it is DNA and not the protein. That was very significant development for the development of our understanding of molecular basis of inheritance. So now we know that it is DNA that stores the genetic information in the living organisms, at least vast majority of them. But there was further studies. As you know, science keeps on developing, and therefore new lights are thrown into our understandings, and we change our understandings accordingly in the light of these new discoveries. And then people knew that some viruses actually have RNA as the genetic material. So that means both RNA and DNA can be the genetic material, though again I am saying that in vast majority of the organisms the genetic information will actually be stored in the DNA. But now we have another molecule, that is RNA, that may be able to store the genetic information, as we can see that happens in so many bacteria. We have already ruled out that protein will not be the genetic informational molecule, though in the beginning days it was a very attractive candidate for this particular function, but we have ruled it out. And actually, let me reinforce this point here for the sake of a question that can be asked in NEET entrance exam. Though every MacLeod and McCarthy rightly concluded that it is the DNA that is the genetic material, but not all biologists were convinced, as we discussed in the previous videos, and therefore the unequivocal proof that DNA is the genetic material actually came from the experiments of Hershey and Chase. So after Hershey and Chase, it was finally settled that DNA will be the genetic material. So now what we are going to do, that now because we have a DNA molecule that can store genetic information, now we know that even in some viruses RNA can perform this function. And by this time we also know the central dogma of molecular biology, how the information flows from the storage point till it is reflected in the form of the Mendelian traits. So that means that DNA stores the genetic information, then there is a transcript of DNA in the form of an RNA, and then there is a translation of the language into what is called as proteins. So I will again give you a basic idea here. DNA is made up of nucleotides. RNA is also made up of nucleotides. Since the language remains the same, so formation of RNA on the template of the DNA is called appropriately as transcription. This process is called as translation. And because the RNA language is made up of RNA nucleotides, but protein language is made up of amino acids, and because the language is being changed here, therefore the formation of protein with the help of deciphering of the code that is written on the RNA molecule is aptly called as translation. So we will call this as the central dogma of the molecular biology. This is how in living organisms, at least in most of them, the genetic information that is stored is flowed. And this is how the genetic information flows in living systems. This is how DNA, which carries the genetic code, is reflected in the proteins that will be carrying out the functions of the organism, and as well making the structure of the living organism. And hence again and again we are saying that protein means pro means something which is of first importance. So now two things, please let us put this in correct perspective again. explain. Number one, that it is DNA that can store the genetic information. Now we know that RNA can also store the genetic information, and we know that the flow of the genetic information follows the central dogma of molecular biology. This is the initial discussion of the central dogma of molecular biology. We will see later on that you can form actually DNA on the template of RNA as well. The process would be correctly called as reverse transcription, but we are not dealing with the details as such right now. And this central dogma of molecular biology was proposed by Francis Crick. So with this, with these, all these facts in mind, and all the information that we have gathered over our past lectures, now we come to what is called as a very important subsection of your NCERT textbook. This is your class 12th NCERT textbook, and in this video we will be discussing about 6.2.2. This is what is called as the properties of genetic material DNA versus RNA. So I hope you have your NCERT textbooks with you, and this is the subtopic that we are discussing in this particular video. You know, this is Hershey and Chase experiment, and we have proved unequivocally with the help of Hershey and Chase experiment that it has to be DNA and not protein. And now we will compare the different nucleic acids, DNA and RNA, that what are the properties of the DNA that makes it more suitable to store genetic information, and what are the properties of the RNA that actually makes it more suitable, more dynamic for the transmission or flow of the genetic information in living organism. So what are these properties? And they will be considered with respect to both DNA and RNA in this particular video. So I hope you have understood that what we are going to read in this video. So first and foremost, we have to see that what are the properties that must be satisfied by the biomolecule that we think will be the major biomolecule that will be storing the genetic information in majority of the organisms. So the properties are, number one, it must be able to replicate itself. So the first property that we are looking in any genetic informational molecule is the capability of replication. You can understand we have to maintain the continuity between the generations, and if right from the day of August Weismann we know that germplasm will be maintaining the continuity between organisms of between populations. So that has to happen, and therefore there must be a molecule that replicates itself and that is inherited by the progeny, and that maintains the continuity between generations. So this is one of the most important properties that the genetic informational molecule must possess, because inherent in the evolution would also be sexual reproduction or reproduction, and for reproduction to happen there has to be the replication of the genetic material. The genetic information stored in an organism must be replicated so that the parent keeps a copy and one of the copy passes to the progeny. Therefore, because we know after Louis Pasteur experiment that it is biogenesis, life arises from pre-existing life. So there must be a continuity between generation, and therefore for that to happen, the genetic information molecule must be able to make a copy of itself. There must be a copying mechanism, and that is why we are saying that they must be able to replicate themselves. Number two, because we are storing the genetic information in this biomolecule, and we do not want that every now and then something changes in them, and therefore that change will be reflected in the change of the phenotypes of the organism. So it should not be so rapid that it actually creates a havoc in the adaptations of the organisms. So therefore we want that this informational molecule must be chemically inert, and more importantly must be structurally stable. So we want a stability. So structurally, it should be structurally stable. That is very, very important, because it is very easy to understand. You do not want your characters to change day and night. You do not want a too frequent change in the phenotype. So an organism is adapted to the environment, and that adaptation is a set of traits that helps the organism to be able to survive in a given environmental condition, and more importantly to be able to reproduce using the natural resources in a given environmental condition. And that adaptation must have a genetic basis, and therefore these adaptations are the results of the genetic code that is encoded on the genetic informational molecule, and we do not want it to change. We know when elephants breed, they produce elephants only, so we do not want a drastic change here. So reproduction, the organisms produce their own kind. A little bit of change is important, but it cannot be drastic. I hope you have understood why we are saying that the genetic information molecule must be chemically and structurally stable. And number 3, we are saying, though on the one hand we want it to be stable, on the other hand we have to explain the diversity. So diversity in the living organism is the number one criteria that when you look at the living world, you are awestruck by the amazing diversity that is seen in the living world. That was the reason basically that initially we thought that protein may be the biomolecule that actually stores the genetic information, for the simple reason that proteins exhibit a huge amount of diversity. So the biomolecule has to explain the biodiversity. That means there must be scope of slow changes. So I am saying changes, but I am using an adjective for changes. I am saying it must be slow changes. So on the one hand, we want it to be structurally stable. On the other hand, we want that there must be scope of slow changes. We already know that the story of the life on earth is actually evolution of life on earth, and for evolution to happen, which means there must be descent with modification, there will be slight modifications in the forthcoming generations, and nature will select the useful variations. And for this to happen, nature requires a raw material in the form of variations. Larger the number of variation, more will be the raw material, and more material will be available for the nature to select from, and therefore we need variations in the population. Only then, if the environment change, some of the variant may actually be selected by the nature, and overall the population may be able to survive. So this is very, very important concept. We want a scope of slow changes. Number 4, this must be able to express itself. The molecule must be able to express itself in the form of what is called as Mendelian traits or Mendelian characters. So now try to understand. You have already seen Mendelian genetics. You know capital T, small t. These are 2 alleles of height in Pisum sativum. This is for tallness and this is for dwarfness. And capital T will be tall, and capital T, small t, because we know the law of dominance, will again be tall, and small t would be dwarf. We know this. So that means the nature will be acting on the phenotype. Nature is not directly acting on the genotype. So nature will be acting on the phenotype. Suppose the nature is selecting a tall plant. So indirectly it is actually selecting the capital T allele. But it cannot directly select the capital T allele unless and until it expresses itself into this trait, which is tallness. So for this to understand, please understand the gene must be having its expression, and that expression is the thing that is actually selected by the nature. So very, very important for evolutionary point of view that the genetic informational molecule must be able to express itself in the Mendelian characters. So now we have made the list of four characters that we are looking for in the genetic information molecule, and these 4 characters are the ones on which there will be an litmus test for DNA and RNA. We will critically analyze both of them and then derive our inferences out of the observations when we compare the 2 molecules on each and every character separately. So these are the 4 characters that your NCERT says, and I hope you have understood why we are saying that all these characters are required to be present in the genetic informational molecule. I hope this much is absolutely clear. So what we are going to do in the next video is that you know the central dogma of molecular biology, DNA, and there is a transcript which is called as RNA, and the translate which is called as the protein. So we have three biomolecules, DNA and RNA and protein. To begin with, we will start comparing all three, and ultimately we will actually compare between DNA and RNA, and the conclusion that we will arrive would be that DNA is a molecule that is better adapted to store genetic information, and the dynamic function or the transmission or the flow of the genetic information in the living system will be basically under RNA. This is what we will find. So you study this thing from your NCERT, and then you understand what your NCERT has said, and when I come back we will discuss this particular comparison between the various molecules on these specific parameters that we have enlisted from our understanding of the molecular basis of inheritance.